there are a lot of numbers that have been thrown out with respect to the security relationship. 2049 being a year that the PLA needs to be ready to take Taiwan. In some cases, people talked about 2027 or 2026. I would tell you that professionals, China watchers, and U.S. watchers in both countries define the relationship as a long-term competitive relationship. And that's unlikely to change in the near, mid, or long term. These are two great powers that will be in perpetual competition for the foreseeable future. Now, competition doesn't necessarily mean conflict, and we'll get to that in a minute. From the Chinese perspective, China faces some of the most significant economic challenges they have faced in decades. Okay? Until roughly the start of the COVID pandemic, China's phenomenal economic growth came from infrastructure investment, a phenomenal real estate boom, and exports from a world-class manufacturing ecosystem. Okay? We've seen some of the downturns since then. Okay? Rampant underemployment and unemployment. We've seen that the real estate market in China is hollow and probably a bubble that could burst, if not at any moment, certainly with any great jolt in the global economic system. So most people agree that the Chinese economy requires a fundamental structural rebalancing, transitioning from state-led investments and export dependence towards a more domestic consumption-centric economy. President Xi frequently emphasizes the importance of vigorously boosting consumption. However, just how willing Xi is to implement the necessary reforms to do that is yet to be seen. Such rebalancing would require loosening the Communist Party's control over the private sector, something we know he is loath to do, allowing greater market influence and resource allocation, creating social safety net programs that would give ordinary citizens the confidence that they don't have to save every penny in case they get sick or old or depend on their one son. Instead of doing that, we've seen Xi prioritize state control, national security, and state-directed industrial policy focused on technological self-sufficiency. This top-down approach raises significant concerns about China's long-term economic prospects, especially when considered alongside other long-term concerns like an aging population. China is getting old before it gets rich. Despite attempts by both countries to reduce our mutual economic interdependence, our economies remain inextricably linked, and I think will remain so in the near term. All of these concepts we see and these phrases about onshoring and decoupling, I'm sure the efforts will go forth, but it will be a long time before we can disengage these two inextricably linked economies. And if you don't believe me, go in any dollar store or any Walmart or Target in America, okay, and tell me we're on the road to decoupling from China. The temporary deal announced in May, this is the trade deal, will reduce trade tensions but will not solve the underlying issues in a relationship in which two global rivals have economies that are both deeply intertwined and deeply unbalanced. If there's a Trump-Xi meeting in November, and that's a big if, it will likely lead to a phase one-like truce in the trade war, but only a truce. And I would say maybe not even a truce, maybe just a temporary armistice, because it's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of time, and a lot of resources to address the fundamental challenges in this relationship, particularly this economic relationship.